Hello, board gamers, tabletop players, and fans of Harry Potter. This is Two Players, One Review. I'm Matthew.
And I am Alan. Today we've got Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. We're going to talk about the game a little bit, but specifically, we're going to do a review of the Monster Box of Monsters expansions. So a quick overview, Harry Potter Hogwarts Battles. If you don't know it, it's a cooperative deck building game. It plays through the 7 years of Harry Potter. You play through as 4 playable characters. You've got Harry, Ron, Hermione, Neville. The 4 characters do evolve as you go through the years, which I think is great. It's thematic. They're kids going to school, they learn, they grow, they get new spells, they become more powerful.
It's pretty cool also to have the images of them growing too. Because year 1, 3, and 7, you can see the age difference.
Yes. So through the game, you see various locations from the film, villains from the film.
So in the game, you have 3 different kinds of resources. You have your health. You start at 10. You try not to make it down to 0, but if you do, you get stunned. You also have influence, which that's what you use to build up your deck. So you use your influence to buy items, spells, or allies that are more powerful. And then you also have attack, where you use to defeat the villains.
Yes. And so what you get with the Monster Box of Monsters, you get 1 new playable character. You get Luna. You get 4 new boxes. So this box comes with years 1 through 7.
And this one specifies box 1 through 4. They don't have the years because this is a continuation from year 7.
Yes, it feels more like a sequel than a true expansion. We'll get more into what that means in a moment. Mm-hmm. Because the events of this box 1 happen right after this box 7. You'll take everything from box 7, the villains, the Hogwarts cards, your market.
Dark arts.
And you'll mix them in with the box 1. So it's kind of like a year 8. So you're playing with everything from this box, and it does feel like a continuation because the first game in the Monster expansion, Voldemort starts on the board. He makes himself present from the beginning.
And one thing that we both really like about this expansion is it's basically more of the same game.
A couple of extra levels. We already mentioned that. You get 4 new boxes, 4 new locations, new creatures are added in. We've got some werewolves. We've got Grump, Fluffy, that are prevalent during the movie and books, but are absent in the first game. They've kind of got them back in.
And what's really cool about this is you get these encounters that go on the board. Mm-hmm. And their passive abilities, if you're familiar with the Horcruxes from the original game, it's kind of just like that, where they're abilities that just sit there and they do like little things. And there's objectives that you can do to get them off the board, and there was 3 of them per box.
So they sit there, they disrupt the gameplay, they hinder the player, and what's neat is they still find unique ways for the player to beat them. Mm-hmm. Some can be playing a certain number of cards per turn, rolling certain dice per turn, things you have to do outside of just attacking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One thing that was really cool is that a box from this one was completely Goblet of Fire themed, which was really cool to see. They had the maze, they had the dragon pit, and they had the lake.
So it was really cool to see that one part of the Goblet challenges expand out into locations, encounters, creatures, villains, and much more immersive.
Honestly, that should have been year 4 of this one.
They kind of touch on it a little bit, but this one goes more into the individual challenges.
Right.
Well, this one kind of deals with the full year, where this one takes care of that one tournament.
That's true. Mm-hmm. One thing that's really cool about this expansion is they added creatures. In the older game, there was just villains, but now we have villains and creatures.
In the old villains, you just build up your attack and attack them individually or all at once, and that's how you would defeat them.
But with the monsters, some of them, yes, you can attack and defeat them, but some of them you actually use your influence on, which is really cool.
I kind of look at it as a mechanic. You're using your influence to kind of tame them, to kind of calm them down, get them on your side. And once you do, they're no longer a threat to you. Is what I tell myself I'm doing in the game.
But then some creatures have just influence, and then some have influence and hearts. So you got to balance that as well.
And one thing I like about the influence is you see initially 3 influence, 5 hearts. You think, okay, he's going to be easy to kill. You cannot add more than 1 influence per turn. So even though you can gain more than 3 influence per turn, you can't kill him all at once. He's on the board for at least 3 turns.
And this guy has an influence of 8. So he's on the board for at least 8 turns.
Mm-hmm. Now that is players' turns, because each player going around the table could add 1 each, but you cannot add more than 1 each.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
So if you add 1 a turn, he'll be on the board for 8 player rounds.
Yep.
Player turns.
I like that. It kind of slows it down. It makes sure he's part of the game for a longer duration. Because we've all had the ones where villain flips up, you smash him first turn, and he goes away.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot with these guys.
So yeah, you can't just gain, 7 influence. Okay, next turn you'll get them.
No. Mm-hmm. Another cool mechanic they added, another dice. We've seen the house dice from the previous game. This one was fun. It has some familiar symbols, some new to a die. I will say it felt like the villains used it more than we did.
I would definitely agree with that.
And what I kind of like and kind of can be confusing is when you're rolling it as the villain, the symbols flip their meaning.
So a heart would mean they take a lightning or an influence back. Or if they get a lightning, it means damage you, not take a damage off.
Right, you're looking at it from the creature or the villain's perspective. So a heart will heal them. They'll remove an attacker influence, whereas an attack hurts the player.
Mm-hmm.
So it's opposite for when the player rolls it. Not a big deal, I didn't find, but it's just something to be aware of when you're rolling it. You're rolling it from their perspective. So a couple things that I'm going to be a little nitpicky that I don't really care for as much in this game. One of the big reasons for me to get it was a new playable character, Luna. Not necessarily her specifically, but just having that 5th character up from 4. What I was disappointed with, she's only usable with this expansion in box 1 through 4. She is not usable in years 1 through 7. I feel like that was a big miss. They should have added cards for her years 1, 3, and 7 like the other characters, and made her playable through the entire range. Yes, I know she came in during the Order of the Phoenix, year 5. She was still a student somewhere, right? We can make that work.
Could have been a transfer.
Yeah, could have been somewhere else. But I feel like that was a miss, that she should have been playable through the whole box. When I think of expansion, I think of that being able to be played sideways, not only at the end.
So another thing we didn't even end up using, it was a really cool add-on, but these Patronus we didn't even use because we always thought the proficiencies were better. And another downside to these is it's character specific, so Neville can't give his Patronus to someone else.
Which again, for the story, for the lore, makes sense. One, Patronus are specific to individual wizards and witches, but these cards, they kind of force you to try and play a character a certain way. Based on your encounters and based on your villains, you might not be able to play that way as efficiently. And it kind of felt they weren't as good as they could have been. For being, this unique wizard spell, we never ended up using them.
We always just stick with our proficiency. We thought they were just better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The last thing I'm going to nitpick on a little bit is, yes, they added creatures to this box. They have to be aware they're adding it to year 7 from this box. And so they added a few cards to account for the creatures. One being this harp that can basically disable a creature's ability. The problem I have is it the general creature targeting. There are a few cards that target creatures. Once you get to box 3, 4, and you got a good stack of villains, the villains you put in that stack is random. beyond a certain few. If you don't have enough creatures on the board, or if you don't have any creatures on the board, all 3 villains are villains, then those cards are worthless. I felt like that could have been fleshed out a little bit better. We found many times where either our proficiency wouldn't let us target a creature, or the card we had in our hand wouldn't target a creature. Just time where those cards were drawn dead. So overall, I do think it's a great addition to the Hogwarts battle world. But again, it's not a true expansion. In my mind, I think of an expansion adding to the base game, adding to the core game, adding to options.
This was definitely more of a sequel.
Mm-hmm. You don't take these cards and play it alongside year 1 through 7. You can only play them after 1 through 7.
So why should you get this box? Well, if you're looking for an extra challenge, it's a continuation. So if you're looking for more Hogwarts battles, it's a continuation of that, and it's harder, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. Again, it takes off right after year 7. So you've got Voldemort on the field face up from the very first draw when you've got your starter cards only.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a good challenge. And if you felt like the first 7 years you kind of wanted a little bit more, this is it.
This is a really good expansion.
It is fun. And the creatures, I really enjoyed having the influence as opposed to only attacking, because then you had to balance out, yeah, it's only 1 influence per turn, but you have to keep feeding them that influence, giving that influence, and keeping them aware of that, to tame them, to calm them down, to pacify them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a neat mechanic as well that got added on during this box.
That is a super cool add-on.
Mm-hmm. However, if you're looking for just that 5th character, if you're looking for the character you can take through the base years of Hogwarts, it doesn't work that way. So if you're looking for the box just for Luna, no, sorry. She's for the expansion only. And again, that is my biggest gripe. But overall, great game. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to playing it over and over. It does add some freshness to this game.
It really does.
Mm-hmm. But let us know if you've played it. Let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know if you have any questions about the expansion.
Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.